All right, so we went and saw a movie in the theater. The Show Place. MJR. Halloween Ends. Came out today. Maybe last night at midnight or something like that.
Yeah.
I reckon there was probably some midnight showings.
Yeah. 1 year ago today, we watched Halloween Kills. That's not true. I think it was later.
Eating Soup Alone is a podcast hosted by me, Christopher Crumley, and co-hosted by Nicholas Johnson. We try our best to ramble incoherently about a handful of movies at least once a week.
So yeah, we went and saw Halloween Ends.
We did.
Ending our year-long review of all the Halloween movies.
How many are there?
11.
11?
No, I just guessed that.
Okay. Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers, Halloween 5, Revenge of Michael Myers, Halloween 6, Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween 7, H2O, Halloween 8, Resurrection. Also, I did burp, and that's because I'm having a Guinness. And then there was the Rob Zombie one, Rob Zombie 2. Then there was Halloween, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends. So 13, I think.
Sure.
We can
I'm impressed that you remembered all of the subtitles to all of them. That was insane.
I'm like your resident horror Rain Man.
Yeah. So, as you may remember, we watched all of them last year. You know what's most surprising?
Huh.
Even the bad ones.
Yeah.
I remember more than the Friday the 13th movie we watched 2 days ago.
So we open up with a seemingly unimportant little scene where a guy's babysitting a little baby.
Yeah.
Sitting right on him, and his parents are going off to a Halloween party.
It's Halloween 2019, 1 year after the last movie.
Mm-hmm. And they leave after dropping a little bit of, ever since the Michael Myers stuff, he's scared of the dark. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. But he doesn't seem to be.
No.
Yeah, because she's like, mom's like, he sucks, he's scared, we hate him, but get him to bed to let him watch scary movies, and he doesn't seem to be like that.
Yeah. Then they sit down to watch a movie. They're watching John Carpenter's The Thing. After a little while, the kid starts, they just kind of go bickering a little bit back and forth, right? Seems like Michael's in the house for a second.
For a lot of seconds.
That's kind of how they set it up.
Absolutely.
He goes off to go get some chocolate milk and some zucchini bread. Suddenly there's a loud noise. He goes to check on the kid. Can't find the kid. He's going through the house. Ends up locked in the attic, it seems like. He's freaking out. Parents are getting home. He's like, this isn't funny, Jeremy. Open up the door. Open up the door. Kicks the door open. Accidentally kicks the fucking kid off of, what is that, the 6th floor?
Yeah,
those are some winding stairs.
Chris, I didn't think about it until right now.
Yeah.
There are so many floors in this house.
Yeah.
Enough that they should have an elevator.
Yeah.
Or a nanny. Like a professional to watch their son.
This was by far the most shocking thing about this movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. When that happened, I was like, oh, shit.
Oh, yeah, we looked at each other.
Yeah.
It was, that kid hits the ground, and, you don't see him hit the ground, but you see him bounce back into frame after hitting the ground.
Yeah.
He hits that ground so hard.
It's a moment kind of like that moment in Hereditary where I was like, damn, it's this kind of movie?
Yeah.
Title sequence starts. Love it. I like the blue font. I like that it's a little bit hazy and grainy. The pumpkins, I like them ripping open almost as if there's a pumpkin inside of them growing to maturity and breaking its outer shell. That goes on for a while. It's great. Fantastic title. From here, scene to scene, I might lose it a little bit, but...
Oh, also the titles are that fuzzy blue from the 70s ones.
Mm-hmm.
Chef's Kiss.
Yeah.
Love it. I feel like movie titles never should have gotten away from that. Love to see it.
We meet Laurie Strode and Allison.
Correct.
Her granddaughter. In my opinion, Laurie Strode is where, me personally, I'm not saying it was the right or wrong thing to do. It's just my taste. This is the Laurie Strode I would want to have seen from the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're always complaining about Gun-Ho Terminator.
Yeah, it's weird to me. It's just
Laurie
weird.
Strode.
Yeah. I don't mind her being able to hold her own or anything like that. It's not like that. It's just weird to have her like at a dinner and just be like, all I think about is killing Michael. It's just weird. But I do like her like focusing on like healing and stuff like that, writing the book and stuff like that.
Writing her memoirs, just like Scream 4.
It's good. They pitter-patter for a little while. It's Halloween night. Her granddaughter's going to a party. That's all well and good. Maybe we shouldn't be the total scene this. Well, it's going to be full. It's going to be chock full of spoilers.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, we're talking about every minute of this movie.
Yeah. So they then also, we're basically at this point, it's clear to us that beginning little vignette thing was not just like a little example of like how the general Michael Myers fear has affected the community. That is a huge theme of this. Yeah. It keeps being revisited. I don't totally mind that, but there are some things I don't mind about this movie. At this point, I'm still in. I think his name is Corey, right? Yeah, Corey.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah. He's not gone to jail. Works at a dump now, like a little junkyard.
With his stepdad?
I think it's a stepdad.
Yeah.
Did not go to engineering college like he told the mom that he would. And there are some neighborhood punks that really... I mean, they punk him. They punk him out.
They're in the marching band, and they bully this guy. They're wearing Letterman jackets as well for some reason. I don't get it.
They step to him.
Oh, they really do. They go,
really
hey, man,
do.
can you buy us some beer? And he goes, no.
They give him a, hey, mister.
And they go, okay, hey, mister, we're going to kick your shit in now.
Yeah, they do.
They really do. They throw him down on some glass.
Yeah. Cuts his hand wide open. Laurie Strode saves the day to a degree. Cuts their little tire. So right from the rip, this movie does something that I think the entire series has done, but this one's like the most blatant, where they like revisit an idea for the past and like try to take it seriously and whatnot. Yeah. This one, they try to do the Jamie Lloyd thing where like is she gonna be the killer? But they're like, no, he's genuinely gonna be the killer.
Oh yeah.
There was a point during this movie where I was having a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this motherfucker should have been called Halloween 11, Son of Michael.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I was like, look at this, Michael Daddy. I like Michael as a daddy.
I don't.
He's a daddy. I'm not saying I like it in a good way. No, like, that's a good movie. No. I'm just saying, like, in a shitty movie, fun way, I was like, okay, Michael Daddy's funny as fuck. That's funny.
Yeah, this is what I loved about the last one.
Yeah.
But in a way I didn't love.
Yeah.
I was like, because it was just throwing me off the whole time.
Yeah. It's an unhinged movie. It's
this
unhinged.
movie, that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Like there's that scene where he's in the sewer.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's Michael Myers. No, the first thing you see is like the camera goes under a bridge. And I was like, that'd be so funny if Michael's living under a bridge. Yeah. And Michael's kind of living under a bridge.
Michael's living under a bridge.
In like a little like sewer grate under a bridge. And... yeah, like when he attacks him in that sewer and they make eye contact.
Yeah.
And he sees into his soul or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no.
So yeah, our little Corey, everybody in the town does not believe that he accidentally killed this kid. They all call him the psycho babysitter. Killed the little baby. And yes, somehow he has some sort of spirit bond with Michael. Again, kind of like the Jamie Lloyd thing, or the Tommy Jarvis thing. And yeah, so to talk about that, one of the scenes that really threw me off is like when he brings that, I think his name is Doug, the boyfriend who's also a cop of Allison that's no longer. Yeah.
Who is also 15 years older than her, it seems?
She's much older, yeah.
Allison.
He follows him for a little bit. He takes him down to the bridge and drags him into the sewer. And this is one of the dialogue choices, in my opinion, that are suspect. He like throws the guy at him and he tells Michael, he's like, help me, I need something from you, show me how you do it and stuff.
Yeah,
very weird stuff.
Yeah,
very weird stuff.
It's every time he talks to Michael, it's strange.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just every time you see Michael just hiding away in that little sewer runoff drain thing, I don't know what you would call it, it's just fucking weird. That's my bit. We literally just got back from seeing this.
Yeah.
I have no clear, concrete thoughts or ideas or opinions on this movie. Like everything about it, I'm like, that's unhinged. I don't know how to.
Yeah. Well, that's a good way to put it. I mean, like from the rip, you get that scene that, like I said, is a shocker, huge shocker.
Yeah.
Loved that. Title sequence happens, and then, it's kind of normal for a little while. You meet Jamie, you see what she's doing with her, book. and her granddaughter and them living together, and that's all nice.
Yes.
Her granddaughter's like a nurse, and Corey, has a job with his stepdad and whatnot. Things aren't great, but they're also not awful. He could be in prison right now.
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis tries to set up those two together, and it's at the beginning all right. I'm like, okay, I get it, trauma bonding a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Then this is probably not the first. It's a little bit of a mess in my head, but there's the scene where he gets pushed off the bridge by the marching band kids again. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no. That's ahead. I'm thinking ahead. How? No, I'm not. So he wakes up the next day and then he accidentally kills
that homeless guy.
The homeless guy, which when that happened again, it was an unhinged moment where I was like, how the fuck is this guy gonna accidentally kill two people in his life? This guy's got a bad case of the fucking he's got a case of the jinx.
Yeah.
He's going full Robert Durst in this movie. What the fuck?
And then it's something I don't understand about this movie. No, I guess I do understand it. It happens in a lot of movies, but people say things to each other and then people either don't respond to it or respond in a way that feels like they're responding to something else.
Yeah.
Because he immediately goes to see Allison, and they had a fight the night before because they were dancing at a club.
Oh, I totally skipped over that. Yeah.
They're dancing at a party, and he's feeling great because it's the first time he's been in public in a long, long time.
Yeah.
And he's doing great, and they're dancing, and they're having a great time. And he walks over to the bar and goes, shit, fuck, bro, let me get a beer. And then the mom of the dead boy goes,
brutal scene.
Oh, you're just out here dancing.
I was having a hard time looking her in the face. When
dancing with your little friends. And he's
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry. And she's like, oh, you're sorry? And I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah, I
and
know.
she chases him out of the bar. Allison goes, hey, listen, I know what it's like. That's why I like you. That's why I like being with you. Bad. If you're saying that out loud, you should understand that's bad. And he goes, no, you don't. I'm the monster. You're the survivor. You don't understand. And he storms off, gets pushed off the bridge, wakes up, kills a homeless person, goes to her the next day, goes... Lori sees him outside, standing behind the bush like Michael, and I went...
Yeah, I was like, oh...
no.
Yikes.
And then she goes outside, and he pops up behind her, like a Muppet, and scares her.
Like, oh my god, he's got the Michael Myers now.
Yeah, and he...
There's this whole thing about contagious and disease.
Yeah, because it's
an evil.
Chris, it's COVID.
I know.
Like the last one was QAnon? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, okay, sorry. Meets Michael, gets the boogans.
Let's go back for a quick second. I want to go back to when he goes home to his parents and they're eating sloppy fucking spaghetti.
Oh, and his mom
mom's
has
glass?
spaghetti all over that milk.
Did you see that glass?
Disgusting. Like it's supposed to be a bit, but also it's too much spaghetti to be on a glass.
I want to take a couple of things we've been doing from the Friday the 13th series and ask you a couple questions. One of them is, who's your favorite character in this? For me, it's the stepdad, Ron.
Oh yeah, Ron rips.
God, I'm just gonna jump ahead to the scene where his mom, out of anger, smacks Corey up the head.
Yeah,
and it just like lingers on him for a second. Then it cuts to his dad drinking a beer in the corner or whatever, and he just goes, "I hope you find love someday," or something like that.
His mom smacks him across the face and goes, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then kisses him on the mouth.
Yeah,
and then everyone in the theater laughed, and that made me laugh very hard.
Yeah.
My favorite character is...
It's not Ron.
Ron, I think, yeah. Ron's a blast. You don't see a lot of him.
Yeah.
But he's nice. I like he comes in late to work. He's like, "Look, you're late." I'm like, "Uh-oh, bad boss."
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Come with me for a second." I went, "Uh-oh, Corey's getting fired." And he goes, "I'm giving you a motorcycle so you're not late anymore." I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah, Ron."
Great boss.
Yeah, great boss. Great stepdad. Love him.
I don't know how bad I derailed you earlier, but...
Pretty drastically.
Okay, go ahead. Go back on your little... Get on the rails.
Of people saying things that don't make sense, or having conversations that don't make sense.
I think that's where you're at.
He gets the boogans from Michael. He kills a homeless guy.
Boogans?
Yeah, he goes and sees Allison and goes, "Can we just walk?" And they go and they have a walk. And he goes, "I killed somebody." And then they just move on.
Yeah.
And she never asks. Maybe she assumed he's talking about the kids.
Yeah, that's why I think when they went to the house and he told her about it. Yeah.
Okay.
But I will also say... I don't think it's a good idea. It was just the first thing that popped in my head when we were watching the movie initially. We get to the point where she's good. Mm-hmm. She's just a normal lady. She's writing a book, living with her granddaughter. And I was thinking, like, yeah, like if you were going to do like a... I'm not saying it would be a great movie, but if you were going to do a 40-year anniversary, like just for fun, fan service, like let's get Jamie Lee Curtis back one time and let's just make a Halloween... I was like, well, maybe a good idea would be that she's suspicious and on edge, and she knows survival stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
Sure. But one of the big bits of drama is that she keeps butting into like her granddaughter or her daughter's like life in the way that she ends up doing in this movie with the boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I think that core spine is not the worst idea. I think overall the movie not very good. But it's almost like Son of Frankenstein, like the idea of like, again, I'm not vouching for this being good. I'm just saying that like there was an element where like I could almost like it, because it almost reminds me of like, the inspector becoming friends with Frankenstein inheriting his granddad's castle, not wanting to be a Frankenstein, but then Igor comes along and says, hey, help the monster for me. And there's like this like so I do kind of like the idea of like Jamie being like, hey, the boy you're dating is bad, and the girl being like, no, he's not bad, but then he's also killing people on the side or whatever, but it's not good necessarily.
Yeah.
Interesting, perhaps. I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, no, it's my biggest problem with this movie is that that's unfortunately most of the movie.
Yeah.
But I don't like the idea of new boyfriend becoming new Michael because he got the boogans.
Yeah, I don't like that part of it. That's one of the tricky things about horror sequels is like how, like it's obvious. It's like the tightrope between people want more of Michael or Freddy or Jason, but except for Freddy, these characters, how long can a mass murderer just keep doing mass murders kind of a thing?
Yeah.
So at a certain point, one of the ways you could freshen it up is like, oh, it's somebody else this time, but people hate that because they want
every single
Jason.
time. Yes.
So then you have to have Michael there. So you have to have Michael give him the boogans, and that part's weird. Like
and be dad. Yeah.
And not in a good way, not in the way that I like Jason Lives. But it's like almost like a fucking like Universal thing where like Frankenstein's living in the basement and then like, you know what I mean? And like, it's so odd. It's almost like a Hellraiser thing. Like I've never seen Hellraiser, but like how like Hellraiser, like there's like a guy in the basement, I guess, who's like all just messed up parts, and then people are dying above him and like the blood drips on him and like brings him back to life kind of a thing. It's like one of those weird things where they go supernatural. Michael, again, is what I'm trying to say, is like Corey starts bringing him people, and as he kills more people, he gets more power, which is also odd to a degree.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Like when he gets like that first guy in there, he's like, and like kind of stumbling around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then he gets stronger as he gets more evil, which I loved about the last one. It's so I'm gonna say it again. It's the last one is exactly like this. It's like, hey, let's take something people don't like about the old ones and make it good. And contrary to my opinions, everybody hated that one. I thought it beat ass. And then they did it this time, and like they did kind of put their own spin on it, but it just didn't click with me.
Yeah,
I can't.
There's a lot of things that just remind me of like that era of horror movies and them trying to like pay homage, but also be like, hey, we can do this well now. Like the whole radio DJ thing is like straight, in my opinion, like straight out of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 or something, like,
or Twin Peaks season 3,
yeah, and it's kind of leads to that fun scene, but it could just not even be in the movie almost,
Yeah, why'd he cut his tongue off?
Yeah.
That felt weird.
For talking.
It felt preemptive, like, oh, cool. So there's scissors here already. Like, anyway.
Yeah, here's a couple of things that are odd to me as well. Again, do I like them? No. Are they inherently bad? Not necessarily. Do I think they're good? No. But somewhere in the middle of that, there's my opinion. The mask that she gives him for the Halloween party is the mask that he starts wearing as Michael.
Yeah, when they go out together.
Yeah, and he goes and kills the doctor. Yeah. Presumably because of the way that he talked to her.
Yep, passed her up on the promotion,
Yeah, passed her up on the promotion and stuff. The other thing that's odd to me was, you missed it, but like there's another scene. There are a lot of little things that Corey does that are Michael-esque. You went to the bathroom, but...
Oh, yeah, we should do that. We should tell each other the scenes we missed when we went and peed. Yeah. Because neither of us cared about this movie that much.
They're sitting on top of the radio station.
Okay.
Very romantic scene. He's got his back up against, like, the half wall.
I will say that's something that they do really well.
Yeah.
You see him do some crazy stuff, and then you get a scene of the two of them on a motorcycle, just driving.
It gets dry for a second.
And I'm like, so romantic.
Those drop a synthy song while they're riding on a motorcycle together.
Oh, Chris, nothing gets me like that.
Yeah. So they're sitting on the top of this radio station. He's got his back to the half wall, on the edge, and she's laying on his chest, and they're just bathed in the red neon from the big radio tower. And he's talking about how he's like, we just got to get the fuck away from here. And when I get the fuck away from here, I don't want to do it alone. I want you to come with me.
I'll light the match.
Yeah. Oh, I light the match. That's one of my least favorite lines.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like, I don't know if it's just unavoidable when you're writing these movies or whatever, but that has been one of my problems with like the movies throughout the whole thing is, I think all three of them are very sound. I think they're very much so like done with sound.
Yeah. You can hear them.
I think they're all done with skill and respect. I think it's definitely handled very well. These movies look great. And they're definitely all they have to be. I mean, they're definitely the equivalent of like in the 70s or 80s if you liked slashers more than like The Exorcist. Same thing here. Like you're gonna get some bad dialogue, you're gonna get some narrative plots that don't necessarily make sense. Is that a big deal? Not necessarily. But yeah, there are some suspect lines throughout the whole thing. Like even when they're doing the flashback to the last one, like just when like Tommy Doyle comes in, she's like, "Go find him," and stuff like that. It's like, ugh, this is a little, But yeah, that's the I'll light the match is another example. There's another one where he gets up on the ledge of the radio station or whatever. And she's like, "You're crazy. You're not going to jump," or something, whatever she says. And he's like, "You're just afraid you don't have enough bandages to fix me," or something like that. And then he jumps, and she's like, "Oh my God, Corey, no." And then she looks down, and he just landed on like a smaller ledge or whatever. But then he hangs off that ledge, and she's like, "Are you suicidal?" He's like, "I'm not interested in immortality." And then he falls, and he's laying there for a second, and then he sits up like Michael, which is another one of those moments like the Laurie seeing him standing around the corner.
The scene you missed.
Okay.
Was, remember when she goes to Corey's mom's house?
Yeah.
After that, she goes to the bar and talks to the woman who was in the last one, but she's also the little girl from the first one.
Okay.
She's the bartender. She tells her like, "Yo, this Corey kid, I can see in his eyes, he's got the boogans." She's like, "There's someone I think you should talk to. Ron," or whatever his name is. And it's the dad of the little boy. And he's there just shooting pool in a suit after work with his 5 o'clock shadow because he's depressed. And he was like, "I always knew Corey was a good kid, even after what happened. Even all the way through the trial, I knew Corey was a good kid and wouldn't hurt anybody. And the other day, I saw him walking down the street, and I thought, hey, I should go talk to him, prove my bitch wife wrong." He didn't say bitch, I added that. "Prove my wife wrong. And when I pulled up to him, and it's like it shows like a flashback. It's a little washed out, so you know it's a flashback. And he's walking down the street, and it's like recently probably right after he killed that homeless man, I'm gonna guess. He goes, and I looked in his eyes, and I saw the boogans, and I was like, oh, I believe that engineer, that potential engineer did not kill my son, but that guy I saw is not him."
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting, a little bit of flip, because in the beginning he seems like the dick and she seems so sweet.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Eventually we're in full-fledged Michael mode. He crawls back into the sewer one more time, and he's like, "I know what I need from you. Give me that mask." Yeah, and he wrestles with him a little bit. And this is another scene where I was like, Michael, Dad, he's like a Papa Bear or something like that. He ain't gonna talk it out. You guys gotta wrestle a little bit.
It's prom night. Corey's home drunk. He wants to fight Dad.
Yeah. So you know what? That gets it gets a thumbs up from me. That shit is ridiculous and a fucking funny.
It's great. Yeah. And he beats that old man up to the ground.
Beats the fuck out of his dad.
And takes the mask and runs.
Takes his dad's mask.
And he sits up because that's his superpower.
Yeah. Eventually we get to the point where like Laurie is just like, "Hey, that boy is trouble," and she's like, "I don't give a fuck. I want double," and she leaves. Laurie very sad. You think she's about to kill herself. Yeah. She like taking some booze upstairs. She pulling her gun out of the safe. Calls the cops. Says, "I would like to report a suicide at 123 every street." And then she puts the gun up to her little head or whatever, and you're watching a wall, and boom, brains splatter on the wall. Pumpkin brains. She shot a pumpkin. Michael, come in. Not Michael. Corey. She's like, "You son of a bitch." Shoots him twice.
It's cheesy, but yeah. I do kind of like that scene where it cuts to Corey's point of view,
Yeah.
looking through the door, and you see the pumpkin spider against the wall, and then the door opens, and it's Lori, and she's got the gun pointed right at the camera, and she goes, "Did you really think I'd kill myself?" Because she's talking to us, Chris.
We got to pause for a second because we also skipped over the whole scene where he lures the marching band kids back to the junkyard. This part is where the brutal happens.
Yeah.
The kids have some plan to like drag his motorcycle and like fuck it up or whatever, but then what looks like the truck from the first movie turns its headlights on, and all hell breaks loose. At first he put a drumstick in Brad's eye or whatever the hell.
I hated that kid in his hair.
He runs down a couple of girls with the truck, which is another moment where like again like throughout the whole movies, I don't know if I brought it up in the other two movies or whatever, but like it's another movie ripped straight from the bad ones that they try to do like with some grace, where like he chases somebody in a car.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So he runs over a fence with the girl on the other side, and she gets trapped underneath it. Mm-hmm. Pretty horrifying, but I don't feel like they linger on it enough for it to be scary.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's a concept that has the potential to like make me as unsettled as I am when I'm watching Sidney Prescott climb over Ghostface from the back of a cop car.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, fucking go. But no, he takes a blowtorch to that one dude's mouth. That's fucking disgusting. Wrenches that girl in the back of the head, and then he just stomps out that poor girl's head after killing it. Oh, no. Main bad boy of the bunch
shoots Ron.
Shoots Ron.
Sucks because
it's another one of those. Yeah, it's one of those scenes that I feel like is a
bummer.
So yeah, but I feel like it's all supposed to like tie back into that whole like everybody being rashed because they're so scared, right? Like he's shooting at Michael, even the guy's like, "No, don't shoot yet," and then he stands up and gets shot. But there's a bunch of stuff like that we glossed over, like shots of people killing themselves or like accidentally killing.
Yeah.
Like cops being at scenes and be like, "You think Michael did this?" And like Michael don't.
And
use a
Laurie's
gun.
always there for some reason.
Yeah.
But the girl that gets run over, she's always nice to him when they're beating him up. They're like, "Hey, come on, guys, stop!"
And he stomps the shit out of her head.
And he stomps the shit out of her head. I thought for a minute when he's standing over her, she's under the fence and under the car, and he's looking at her. I was like, bro, if he takes that mask off, looks at her, and gives her the boogans, I'm walking out.
But to backtrack for a quick second, I don't mind the town being obsessed in this way. Like I said, I didn't really care for the whole Evil Dies Tonight thing, but I do like all the little shots of people who are like, "Oh, you think it was I don't like how much they say Michael Myers, though. It's like one of those things where like you say pencil enough and eventually it's just a nothing word.
A word starts to become a sound.
Yeah. I definitely like, I know look at me, Mr. Went to film school. I like when they call him the Shape in the first movie. Yeah, that's just nice.
Or the Boogeyman.
Nice. Yeah. I just wish they had something else, like even if they're just like, you think he did it? Yeah. It's just one of those things where it's like, we as the audience, you don't have to say Michael Myers. We know Michael Myers. We know, you know what I mean?
And the people of Haddonfield, for sure, know Michael Myers.
Yeah. But I do like the idea that everybody's still like bothered by it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially since he's on the run.
Yeah, he's just a loose. He's a loose out there.
He killed like 40 people in the last movie and then just booked it.
Well, I have two questions.
Go ahead.
Nobody has been in the sewers?
Who wants to go in the sewers?
Well, yeah, because it ties into my next question. What about the toxic sludge that comes at midnight?
That's a great point, yeah. And then
everybody knows that sewers have toxic sludge that fills the whole thing at midnight.
It could just be New York, though.
Okay. We'll get to that in the next episode.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to our brain splatter pumpkin head.
Yes, that's where we were.
She pops him twice in the chest, and he falls off just like the little boy.
Just like the little boy.
The little
but luckily, Laurie Strode lives in a 2-story house instead of a 4-story house. So.
And he's got a little bit of the boogans in him, so the 2 slugs don't kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a situation where they're standing there, they got a little kind of a face-off, and she's like, "Hey, do it, sucker."
She goes, blam, blam, and shoots through the wall.
She empties it out. And he grabs the knife, and he's like, "Don't." He grabs the knife, and he's like, "Don't think I won't."
And then Allison drives up, and she goes, "Allison's gonna know. You think you could have been with my hot granddaughter?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "If I can't have her, no one can." Don't know what that means.
Whatever. Yeah, I hate that he keeps saying that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's one of those things that's like not a big deal, but also it's like the most cliche line of dialogue he uses twice.
Oh yeah, we missed the scene where he's sleeping at the dead kid's house because his mom kicked him out, and then Laurie sees him there, and she's like, "Yo, I'll get you help. with your boogans, but you're getting away from my granddaughter.
Yeah.
And he goes, if I can't have her, no one can.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There's also a scene where he tells Allison that your grandma wants to kill me.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyways, this is one of my least favorite. I mean this in a good way. I love it, but it like really unsettles me. I hate in movies when people do shit like stab themselves in the neck in a situation where it's going to look like you stabbed them in the neck.
Yeah.
I know it happens in other movies. I can't think of another example, but that's like that's a prime example of like, oh shit, that's stressful. You know, like, how do you get yourself out of this? Like, it reminds me of I know you haven't seen it, but it's soft spoilers. North by Northwest. There is a point where like someone ends up like with like kind of a knife in their back in like a very public setting, and like instinctually our main character grabs the knife or whatever, and then like it's at the UN, so like the press turns around and takes a picture of him with the knife in the back, kind of a thing, and now he's wanted for murder.
Oof.
Yeah. And it's just it's one of those things that's just a little surreal because it wouldn't happen in real life, but it's just believable enough that you're in this nightmare scenario now where you're like, well, what if I did have my hand on the knife, you know?
Absolutely.
So Allison walks in and she's like, what did you do, you monster? And she runs away.
And Laurie just goes, well, I'm just going to sit on the floor now, I guess.
And he's arrested. It's very stressful.
Great point. And then she sees her doors open, and she can feel the boogans.
Yeah.
She knows something's happening.
Yeah.
Michael comes in. He gets his mask back. Takes the knife out of Corey's hand.
Yeah, I think he scoops it up.
Because Corey wakes up again because he has just a little bit of boogans left. Mm-hmm. And then Michael
kills him.
Yeah.
Too bad.
I guess.
Makes him a bad dad. Up until that point, I thought he was a pretty good dad.
Yeah.
I like Daddy Michael just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, his son beat him up, so he had to...
I don't know. It's something I've been thinking about a lot, is like, it's so fun to watch bad movies.
Oh, absolutely.
It really is.
Oh, Chris, I had a blast with this movie.
Yeah.
I'd like that to be clear.
Like, I the reason why I said that is because I had to bite my tongue, because I was like, I'll never watch this fucking thing again. I'll probably watch it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thinking about signing up for Peacock so I can watch it tomorrow. And then it's just him and Laurie duking it out, and they fight for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Stabbing, gouging, punching, kicking. She stabs him in the arm, or in the hand, against her countertop. And then, like, flips him around so his arm's backwards, and then she just throws him on the table so his arm's clearly broken.
Yeah.
Still stabs her the thing, and then she stabs him in the other arm.
there, yeah. She comes back after a train stops her, and she gets the call about the police. The police are like, your mom called it, or your grandma called it a suicide. Is she okay?
That's something I like to bring up. When she runs away, Laurie tries to call her, and she looks at her phone, and it says that Laurie is calling. Chris, is your grandmother in your phone by her first name?
I think Laurie is the name of her friend, if I'm not mistaken. The redhead who keeps talking about fucking and stuff. I think that might be Laurie.
She's already dead.
Oh, okay. Then I'm wrong.
Laurie
is that really what's going on there?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Why would her friend's name also be Laurie?
A little homage.
To a character that's already in this movie?
What character?
Laurie Strode?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Hang on.
Our main character?
Yeah. Hang on. What the fuck is going... Yeah, that would be very strange. How do you feel about people who call their parents by their first name instead of mom and dad? Do you do that?
I'm like, what are you, Bart Simpson? Come on.
Do you ever do it?
No, not at all.
I've never done it. Jamie Lee Curtis is Laurie Strode, Nick Castle. Bro, it has to be the case. You're absolutely right. What the fuck? In my mind, when I saw that scene, I was like, she probably got a friend named Laurie. Because my first thought was like, that's weird. But then I just explained it away by being like, she probably got a friend named Laurie.
No, I've been thinking about it the whole time.
That's very odd.
And then they push a refrigerator on top of Michael Myers, and he tries to choke her.
Which got a gasp out of the audience. There's a point where like you think like, oh, for sure he's dead, and then he grabs him.
Oh yeah, at this point our audience is hooting and they are hollering.
Yeah, this is where the hoots and the hollers start.
So he's choking her. People are hooting. People are hollering. We're getting flashbacks from all the movies.
Yes.
And she's like, because she just slit his throat, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna die at the same time." And
is this a little bit of their soul bond? Is this a little bit of their boogans that we're seeing?
They're swapping boogans.
Because it reminds me of the scene earlier when Michael gives Corey the boogans. He sees Corey doing
that's a great point. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, they're swapping boogans.
I guess they're soul bonded.
They're soul bonded.
There's some other little homage stuff like there before we get to the point that we're at with the fridge on top of him and the knife in the hand. There's a point where she grabs a knitting needle like in the first one and tries to stab him, but hey, this ain't my first rodeo is what Michael says. First thing he said in 40 years, he goes, this ain't my first rodeo.
Yeah. No, he goes, what? This ain't my first rodeo. Okay, and then Allison comes in and goes, Grandma, no. Or she probably goes, Lori, no. And stops it. And then Lori very slowly slits his wrist, like long ways. Yeah. That got me. I went, ugh, and I slid down on my seat. And then he's dead. And the cops show up, including Hawkins, who he's the guy, the older cop that she's flirting with in the grocery store and stuff like that. What happened to this man? I don't know if you noticed, but I watched Halloween Kills right before we went and saw this. Yeah. This man looks like he has aged 10 years since
still a little
last
handsome,
year.
though.
He's still a handsome guy, but he just looks, and he looks lost the entire time. Like, I think maybe what happened is this guy went from 68 to 72. Yeah. And that just, I don't know if you know this, Chris, that 70 milestone, that fucking gets you. It gets you.
But look at William Shatner.
That's a great point.
He looks crazy for 95. He is 95 years old.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah.
He's 95, and I watch him on that Unexplained show sometimes on the History Channel, and I don't see a 90. Like, Mel Brooks is 95, and he looks 95.
Oh, absolutely. Do you know how old Seinfeld is?
Jerry Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Is he 70?
He's in his 70s, I believe. Yeah, I heard him say it the other day.
He's looking pretty good.
Me and him were just hanging out, and he was like, Nick, did you know I'm 70?
Me and my boy Jerry. And what's the deal?
Did you like how I got into a Jerry as that sentence went on? Yeah. But yeah, I believe he's in his 70s.
Wow.
Let me look it up real quick. And so...
basically, the cops show up.
They see everybody inside, including Hawkins.
Yeah.
And they're like, boy's dead.
Yeah.
And they're like, cool. Not dead enough.
So we're going to handle this the way we handle it out here.
And then cop from the last movie with the cowboy hat comes out, and they're strapping Michael to the hood of their car. And he goes, this ain't how we do it. And then another cop who I think is Danny McBride, he's on screen for half a second.
Really? I missed it.
Goes, it is tonight. And then they drive, or maybe he says this isn't how we do it.
Yeah.
Either way. And then they drive to the junkyard with a big like funeral procession behind them. Everyone in the town drives to the junkyard
there.
together. Yeah.
And they hold him up the way that I feel like, they do Superman and stuff when Superman's hurt, or like Spider-Man. And
yeah,
stuff.
exactly. It's like the Spider-Man train scene. They like crowd surf him over to.
Yeah.
What are those machines called?
The Grinder.
The Cruncher. Yeah.
The Annihilator.
The Decimator. Anyway.
But he definitely, it was an odd choice to me because it seemed like something you usually do when you're like trying to do like the whole hero Christ thing. But whatever, they throw him up in that thing. Well, they set him up on the ledge, and Laurie gives him a little push, and then he gets decimated.
It grinds him up real good into a paste.
Just totally annihilated.
And then we cut to later.
Yes.
Another day.
Yeah.
Allison's leaving Haddonfield. Good for her. Laurie's writing her book, talking to Hawkins. Tell me about those cherry blossoms.
He drops off vegetables. Yes. Earlier she said the thing about how they're good for you. You should buy them.
Yep. And so he gives her a bunch of vegetables. And then we get a bunch of shots of her house. And the last shot is of the mask sitting on her coffee table. Because guess what, Chris? She got the boogans.
She got it?
Yeah. Didn't you just say that when he killed her? And he got the flashbacks and they're swapping boogans?
So you think now she's...
I didn't until you said that. Until you said they're swapping boogans. So maybe she's got the boogans now.
What if they make another secret one? And that's the thing.
Halloween continues.
Yeah.
And we get the Halloween ends title card. Halloween disappears, ends stays, and then you get credits.
Yeah. Is there anything we missed? I'm trying to think back.
Oh, for sure. There's a lot that we missed.
You think so? What's off the top of your head? What can you think of?
I don't know.
Let me think for a moment. I guess we glazed over that scene where the woman who gets stabbed in the neck in Halloween Kills.
Oh, yes.
She's sitting in that wheelchair.
And her sister's like, fuck you, Laurie Strode.
Look what you done.
You antagonized that man.
Yeah. That's another thing that the radio host says to her. I don't know, to Allison. I don't know if you were in the bathroom at that point, but he's like, he says something to Allison along the lines of like, this is all her fault. She's the one who bullied a mentally disabled person until they snapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, something about this that I don't like is I loved in the last one where they're like, oh yeah, Michael Myers has no interest in you, Laurie Strode.
Yeah.
You were just kind of in his way. The doctor brought him to you. And this one, he's like, I'm going to go back to Laurie Strode's house.
I think he was going after the guy who had his mask. I think he wanted a mask back.
Okay, yeah, that could be it.
Yeah.
I do like when he shows, Corey shows up one night there before they go to the radio station. it like cuts to Michael standing outside the house watching him. Like Michael was his ride. Like his dad drove him there.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, like I said, like one of the things that harkens back to, you know, weird Universal horror movies, or even like A Bucket of Blood, is like, again, the one like I almost like the thing about Corey where he's just like a wolf among us kind of a thing, like where he just keeps going off and doing murders and then just coming back like everything's fine. That almost is okay, but
he does not though.
Yeah,
I feel like he comes back every time like, oh, fuck, Allison.
Worse.
I gotta talk to you, Allison. We gotta, like, can we go for a walk? Can we go go to the diner?
Yeah.
She's like, sure. And they go to the diner. He's like, I killed a guy.
Yeah.
She's like, I know you killed that little boy. And he goes, I said guy, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing. I will say, at this point, I'm getting nitpicky, and we got to shut this down. Podcast over almost. But it is a little odd how red flag he is from, like, the 13-minute mark on. And
Absolutely,
she's okay with it.
And she's
like,
just enamored with
yeah,
him.
up until they have the fight and a little bit after killing the first homeless guy, like, I was like, okay, that's fine. But then it rapidly gets way worse.
Yeah.
And she's just blinded by
And
how
she
handsome he is, I guess.
Keeps saying shit like, I think I was meant to find you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, closing it out, I think I'm giving it a big fat D.
I'm going to give it a D+.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head where I would rank it amongst the other ones. I don't even remember if we ranked the last ones.
We did, but it would. Well, I don't know if we would. We might have ranked the whole shebang. But again, we did it orally, and I don't think I wrote it down anywhere.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
And I don't care.
Yeah. Don't care either. Don't care either. You know, because honestly, I mean, I say it all the time. You know, for fun, absolutely, I'll probably watch pretty much everything besides like 7, 8, and like both the Rob Zombie ones.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't really need to see the Psycho Hellbilly shit, and I don't really need.
What about 2?
I do want to revisit that. I think that's a
Absolutely.
prime candidate for us doing like a review.
Absolutely, because we were so high on that movie, but we had just watched a bunch of dog shit right before it.
I think that's prime candidate for a revisit. But you know, I've said it before. I've said it again. Honestly, legitimately, like if there's anything that like I'd recommend to people, it'd probably be like 1 through 3.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would go like stick my neck out for any of the other ones, other than to be like, you got to watch 5 because Jason tries to run over a girl with a car and gets caught in a big net. Oh yeah, the car thing happens in a field and she's 8.
And
so
she
really
outruns it. Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah. They're fun. They're fun movies.
Do you remember the one? It's the Rob Zombie one, where the kids go to the Myers house to like fuck around at night and like smoke weed and have sex and stuff.
Okay. Not ringing a bell yet.
No, I'm thinking of the one with like all the hidden cameras inside the Myers house, and Michael shows up. Mm-hmm. And those 2 people have sex in that room.
Okay.
What do they have sex on?
I don't remember that one very well.
They have sex on a mattress.
Okay.
And
this one is the equivalent of how you feel about the Friday the 13th one. Like this one especially, like the
I was teeing you up to say that's that mattress, man.
Oh, okay. Well,
sorry. Go on with whatever you were saying.
No, it's just like when you're like, I can't remember a single second about this one. That's how I feel about the one with the hidden cameras.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so I wasn't hip to your bit thing because I was legitimately thinking like, what the fuck?
I think there's just a mattress in the middle of the floor.
Yeah.
Chris, if I'm being honest, the last 10 minutes, I haven't heard anything you were saying. And I was like, when does somebody get killed on top of a mattress in one of these movies?
Well, I biffed it again.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember from that one really genuinely, and I'm being dead serious, is when Busta Rhymes gets fucking pissed at him for being in a Michael's costume. Because he's like, this is my bit. I'm doing this bit. Mm-hmm. And then he kung fu fights him a little bit dressed as Michael.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I can never forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose that's that Mattress Man. If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,